It's the AEW World's End post-show. Samoa Joe is the new AEW World Champion. Adam Cole is the Devil. And Christian Cage loses his belt and wins it back.
Start.
We are here. We are live. We are dancing to the song.
Right.
Johnny is not dancing over there.
New Year's Eve,
at
everybody.
all. Hey, it's New Year's Eve. Happy New Year. It's past midnight, so
Eventually.
it's New Year's Eve. It's not New Year's. It's not. It's still 2023.
Day.
Just so we're clear.
For
It's still 2023.
23 hours and 58 minutes.
Ooh, doing math over here on a Saturday night, late night. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on the Ringside Report Network. We are here for the AEW World's End post show. We all watched AEW World's End, at least we did. John, did you watch AEW World's End?
I did.
Did-
Beginning to end.
Did you like it?
It was adequate, I thought. I felt it kind of started slow, but I thought it ended well. I thought the main events delivered for the most part.
Yep, I liked the main event. MJF and Samoa Joe, I thought was a really solid match. I thought that Edge and Christian had a very good match. I didn't love the Eddie Kingston-John Moxley match. I just thought that it took too long to get to the good stuff. We sat through a lot of stuff that was kind of average before we got to Edge and Christian. Several hours of average, if I'm not mistaken. I started watching this show at like 6:30, 7 o'clock when the post show, or when the pre-show started. I watched all the matches. I watched Willow Nightingale beat Chris Statlander. I watched...
Oof, a lot of botches.
Yeah, it was not great. I watched Killswitch win the 20-man Battle Royal to get a TNT title shot, which he later gave to Christian, so it was an important match. It did play into a big match later on. I watched Hook defeat Wheeler Utah by submission to retain the FTW championship. I watched all these matches.
That was okay. That was fine, I thought, for what it was.
What I'm saying is, yeah, it was okay, but, I mean, there was a lot of stuff that just kind of seemed of little consequence and wasn't particularly exciting, you know? It was just, yeah, all right. This is all right.
Well, I felt that way with the opening match with the 8-man tag. I
Mhm.
thought, like, this is just okay.
Yep.
And that's kind of disappointing given the amount of talent that you have in that match. It kind of goes to show you just because you throw in great talent in a match doesn't mean it's going to be a great match all the time. I thought that was just overcrowded, and it just felt like it was move for move, spot fest,
Mhm.
and eventually a finish. I just felt like we were just wasting time.
Yeah, I felt like it dragged on a little bit. I thought it was a little bit longer than it needed to be. It was the Blackpool Combat Club, Claudio Castagnoli, Bryan Danielson, Mark Briscoe, and Daniel Garcia getting the win over Brody King, Jay White, Jay Lethal, and Rouge. But this was a match just kind of thrown together. We're doing the preview show, last night? And we were going through the show, and we're like, oh, this match was just added. We're like, oh, Bryan Danielson's not on the pay-per-view. And then all of a sudden, there's this 8-man tag, and he is on the pay-per-view. And there's Shinobi talking about the Jericho allegations overshadowing the entire pay-per-view, and that's definitely something we will talk about here in a little bit. Shinobi, shout out to Shinobi, Jimmy James, Ryan Katz, Alex Terrace, Kyle Salisbury, Chris Topsy, CSL Lorne, tuning in here on a Saturday night on our YouTube channel. I see you guys in the chat and everybody on Rumble watching as well here. Johnny, what is your match of the night? Let's do the match of the night. I'm seeing everybody in the chat. Let's do it. You know what? Let's hear from. What's your match of the night? Because I think, for most of us, it's going to be between MJF, Samoa Joe, or Edge versus Christian. Adam Copeland versus Christian Cage, if you want to be technical, but you know.
And you're correct.
Accurate.
Sorry, John.
Accurate?
No, just accurate. That's his real name. Like,
yeah, but he's Edge, isn't he?
I mean, not really anymore. No, WWE owns that, so he's not Edge anymore.
Yeah, but what's the difference between this character and Edge?
It says the rated R superstar Adam Copeland. That was the only difference. He said that was the same WrestleMania 22 gear, if I'm not mistaken, right? They said
exactly.
The vest.
There's
but
no
he
difference.
put the rated R superstar sticker on
Cope.
there.
It said Cope also, where
Did
it
it
said
say Cope
Edge,
on?
just like a little name tag.
The only reason he's not Edge here is because he's not allowed to be Edge. But we're allowed to call him Edge because, in essence, that is who he is. He is Edge. He is the rated R superstar, Edge. And I thought his match with Christian was fantastic. So what? Sorry, go ahead.
You're correct, though. The match of the night for me is between those two matches. I think both had slightly weak finishes for different reasons. For the Adam Copeland Christian match, it was the problems with the table, and then the flames, and then the lighter fluid. But I don't think it hurt enough. I think that's still that's my match of the night. But overall, the pay-per-view, there's maybe like one or two matches in like the undercard that I thought were okay, but just a lot of long matches. Like, I want to look at the like run times of these matches. A lot of them just kept going, like Swerve and Goldust.
Yeah, why?
I mean, I know they
it was only 9.5 minutes. It felt longer.
Twice as long.
Yep.
I know they probably had the time set aside for Keith Lee.
Say it again, John.
Well, because they didn't start the match right away, right? They did the brawling around first. That's why it felt longer.
Oh, you're right. And I know they probably had that time set aside for Keith Lee, so they had to like fill it. But like,
Miro Andrade was a little long. The opening 8-man was 17 minutes 50 seconds. I mean, that's too long for an opener. Opening match can't be almost 20 minutes, especially an 8-man tag that no one cares about. It was too long. Tony Storm and Riho went 11 minutes 40.
That's pretty
So
standard.
that was fine.
It was okay.
I thought that match was
I thought it was fine. Julia Hart and Abaddon went 11 and a half.
Yeah, that went way too long.
That felt a little long.
Yeah.
Way too long.
Yeah. The Jericho 8-man tag, which was a mess.
Oh, that was a car crash. That was my least favorite match of the night.
Went 15 minutes, 40 seconds. That was a pretty long match, and it was not very good either. And Angelo Contagonis in the chat, yes, Adam Cole is the devil. And he says, I don't understand why the fans chanted NDA at Jericho. Well, we'll talk about Jericho here.
Give you a little...
We'll illuminate you on the whole Jericho situation. Derek John says, Edge versus Christian. See, he's calling them Edge versus Christian, too. Match of the night, Samoa Joe versus MJF, a close second. The rest was average. And I think I'm in agreement. And I think Johnny is, too. I think Edge versus Christian was the match of the night. MJF and Samoa Joe was very good, though.
Yeah, that muscle buster on the apron.
Yeah, it was very good. Some of the suplexes that MJF took, and I really liked the finish of the match where MJF is getting choked out, and Samoa Joe, he's got him in the choke, and MJF does the hand thing, 1, 2, and you think, at 3 he's gonna, but no, at 3 he drops, and the referee's like, I guess that's it, ring the bell. And I like that finish. I know, John, we were talking about it before the show, and you didn't like the referee's reaction. But I liked the finish. I liked how they did it. And I thought the match was just fantastic. So it's hard for me to choose between those two matches because the Edge and Christian match was really great. But so was MJF and Samoa Joe. Like, those two matches really carried a very average pay-per-view.
Yeah, I just didn't like the referee's like shocked look, and like he had to sell it for several seconds before ringing the bell. Like a normal referee wouldn't do that, but I think we talked about this off air too. AEW has special referees that have to get themselves over, and that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
So that was just unnecessary. I felt the crowd felt it too, where what's going on. Because I think Ben mentioned it too off air. Like MJF's hand landed I think, on Joe's leg.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh, is that not counted as his arm down or something? And with the no decision right away, there's a bit of what's going on kind of thing going on. And then suddenly, oh, it's over. So the crowd was kind of more like, huh? More than just upset, I think.
Mm-hmm. If they had it where his hand landed on the mat like they did for the first two, the crowd, I think, would have understood it, would have translated more like, MJF lost.
Yeah.
But because it landed on his leg, it just kind of like we went fast and just, yeah, there was like a couple seconds there where it seemed like a little bit of confusion. And then they call for the bell.
Yeah. I mean, I like a bit of confusion at the finish sometimes. Like, I think sometimes when a match ends and it's kind of a shocking ending, I like a little bit of time where you go, did that just happen? What the hell just happened? And then the dust settles, and then Samoa Joe's just kind of standing there like, yeah, I did it. Look at me. I'm the champ. What are you all surprised about? I like the way Samoa Joe reacted to it. Mm-hmm. I thought he sold it really well because he picks up the belt and he's like, yeah, what? You expected a different result? Yeah. You know? Like, he was really defiant about it. He had a really good facial reaction to it, holding the belt. And now he's the world champion, which I think is really cool. He's great. I'm a big fan of Samoa Joe. I like the finish. I like the match a lot. The match itself was really great. Like you said, that muscle buster that Joe hit on the apron, a bunch of suplexes. It was good. It was very good. Of course, during the finish, too, MJF goes to Adam Cole for the diamond ring, and Adam Cole can't find it. He's, like, fumbling, trying to find the diamond ring. He eventually finds it, but only finds it when Samoa Joe is right behind MJF to put the choke on.
Yeah, just conveniently, and then we saw what happened after the fact. But I don't know about you guys. I feel like the Muscle Buster off the apron, fantastic. I felt like it happened way too early. And the fact that MJF fought back, was able to throw Joe around afterwards, I felt that took away a little bit. Where it's like, that should have been a lot later on, that move. And then I would have believed in MJF not coming back and winning. Because that looked like that ended right there. But he was able to overcome that and throw him around and give him an F5. It's like, true. I guess that move kind of sucked then.
That was undercut it a bit, I guess. Yeah, sure. I see your point there.
Yeah. All right.
It's a great move, though. I have to say, fantastic. But the thing is, that was the move of the match, was it not?
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing I remember the most. As far as like
was
the spot.
Even
the F5 was cool too.
The F5 was pretty cool too, but that was like not even the halfway mark when he hit that move.
Yeah,
and he still has to do everything else, make his comeback, then go into the false finishes.
Yeah.
Usually when you involve the apron, it's like usually like that's time, like you're done.
I did even say to you at the time, I was like, well, how's that not the finish?
Yeah,
like his shoulders hurt. He just hit the muscle buster, which is his finisher, on the apron, rolls him back in the ring immediately, 1-2, and he kicks out? That's not the finish? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind him fighting from underneath. That's fine. But the fact that he's throwing him around afterwards and hitting his moves like no problem, like, then I'm like, hey, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, your arm should be completely done. There's no way you can actually do moves properly now.
Yeah. The F5 was impressive.
No, great. But again, just the placement of the moves maybe should have been. I just feel that move should have been near the end, I think.
Okay. I thought the match was very good. I thought Edge and Christian was very good. We'll talk about the Edge and Christian match and what went down after that one. But I want to talk a little bit about the Devil and everything that happened there. So Samoa Joe, new AEW World Champion, I think opens up a lot of interesting possibilities. You know that he is working with this new faction led by, of course, Adam Cole, who was revealed after the match as the Devil. The goons come out. to attack MJF. They grab Adam Cole. They grab MJF. They have a chair. They're about to hit MJF with the chair. Adam Cole says, no, hit me. And MJF says, no, don't hit him. Hit me, because they're such good friends. And then the lights go out, and Adam Cole is sitting on the chair. And so he's the leader of these guys. And they all take their masks off. And it's, of course, Roderick Strong, Matt Taven, Mike Kanellis, and Wardlow, who's joined up with these fellas. And they beat up on MJF, and that's how the show closed. So Adam Cole, who you thought was MJF's best friend, has turned on him. But didn't he want to be the AEW World Champion? Wasn't that the whole beef with MJF? Wouldn't that be what it's all about? To turn on MJF? Why is he doing this? Because MJF isn't the world champion anymore. He allowed Samoa Joe to just walk out of the building. World champion, no problem. But he wants to beat up MJF. They all want MJF. They all want revenge on MJF for some reason. What does Adam Cole have against MJF exactly? I'm not really sure what the motivations are behind it. I'm sure they're going to do a promo at some point, possibly Wednesday, to explain all of this. However, at this point in time, I go, okay, Adam Cole's the devil because he was never MJF's friend to begin with, but why? Why?
Yeah.
Why did he do all this? Why did he pretend to be MJF's friend? Why was it so convincing for so long if the payoff is not taking the title from him? What's the payoff? Why did Adam Cole do this? Can you figure it out, John? Do you understand?
Well, again, like you said, they're going to say on Dynamite they're going to have their own reason. I'm sure they've probably already figured this out, but just taking a wild stab at it here. It's the fact that he got hurt trying to protect MJF, right, against Samoa Joe the first time. And look what happened. He got hurt.
Okay.
So now he blames MJF for that. He tried to help him, and he got hurt. Now he can't win the world title himself, so he'll make sure he can't be world champion, MJF.
So MJF can't be world champion either. If Adam Cole can't have it, no one can, type of thing.
Well, not MJF at least.
MJF can't have it either because it's not right. Okay, that's something, I guess. I don't know. Is MJF sticking around now? Does he even stick around for the feud with Adam Cole, or does he take time off because he's hurt? It certainly seemed in that Players Tribune thing that he wrote that he was heading off for some time, possibly to recover from some injuries, or possibly to leave AEW altogether, go to WWE or whatever. So I think MJF's future is up in the air right now, right?
Well, like you said, I think he's taking time off. I think he's hurt, so no matter what, you're just not going to see him for a while. Plus, it just plays in great with the whole, his contract's up, right? January 1st.
Mm-hmm.
So where's he going to land now kind of thing. But I always felt that he re-signed anyways, and now this will just make it more of a surprise when he comes back out of nowhere.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what they do there with MJF. I'm not sure. I'm not sure either way. I'm not convinced he signed a new contract, but then again, who knows? Who knows?
Regardless, though, it doesn't change that I had a number 1 overall wrestler of the year. That still doesn't change after tonight.
Yeah, no.
Regardless of losing the title.
No, of course not. Who cares? The match was great. Of course he's wrestler of the year. He had another great match against Samoa Joe tonight. I don't hate the idea of Samoa Joe as the new AEW World Champion. We'll see what MJF does going forward. Adam Cole as the Devil reveal, I think it's kind of weak. You have this long storyline, who's the devil, plays out over months and months. And the real shocking thing at the end of the pay-per-view was the way Samoa Joe won, and the fact that Samoa Joe just won clean over MJF. And then you have this post-match thing that's supposed to be shocking, but when Adam Cole was revealed as the devil, I don't think anybody really lost it. People were like, "Oh yeah, okay." I didn't see any crowd reactions of guys going like, "Oh," I didn't see any of that because I don't think they existed. I think everybody in the crowd was like, "Okay."
Yeah, because the audience is used to Adam Cole being a heel. Like it's more shocking that he's like, if he's a baby face.
But it's not just that; it's the power of deduction.
Yeah.
People go, "Well, who could it be?" And we're not the only ones thinking about this thing. And we go, well, it could be Adam Cole. Didn't we think it was going to be Adam Cole? Did we not predict it would be Adam Cole revealed as the devil?
Yeah. Like pretty early on. Like
yes.
Didn't we predict that like just last night? Even we said, I mean, who's left?
Predicted right from the start, to be honest. But I mean, it just made the most sense. But the main thing was you kept saying, "Who could it be?" kind of thing. Except for Adam Cole, like the choices weren't exactly great.
No.
So it had to be Adam.
Could have
Cole.
been Wardlow.
Just because you.
Yeah.
Well, he was a part of it in the end.
Yeah, but
so
like it could have been
that made sense.
the mastermind.
Yeah, but yeah, Adam Cole.
No,
it seemed like Adam Cole from the start, and when CM Punk was not in the WWE before Survivor Series, which seems like so long ago. I can't believe that this Devil storyline was going on before that. It's gone on for so long, man. And before Punk was in the WWE, you thought, well, wouldn't it be crazy if Punk was revealed as the devil, right? But then as soon as he debuted in WWE, you go, okay, well, he's off the table. What's it going to be? Adam Cole? And that's kind of a B option. And we're sitting here watching and going, man, it'd be cool if it was Brock Lesnar or Goldberg.
The Undertaker.
Or just somebody.
Goldberg? Really?
I mean, I would prefer it was Goldberg over it being Adam Cole, because I'd be like, what the hell, Goldberg?
I don't like you, Max.
I mean, I think it would be funny if it was Goldberg,
I don't know if that would work, to be honest.
You love Goldberg.
I do, but that in that spot, it doesn't work. Like
sure.
Adam Cole, it makes sense.
I guess, but it's also not great. And everybody's like, meh.
It's a very WWE storyline where it's like you could see it coming from a mile away, and then 3 months later, like, oh my God, it's this guy. And we're like, yeah.
I hate when they reveal the obvious, especially when they run a very long story that at one point was hot and had people that watch wrestling talking. Wrestling fans were like, who's the devil? Who could it be? What's the, a mystery story is always fun. And then when the reveal is Adam Cole, you go, okay, great. Good job, AEW.
The bad guy's the bad guy? I'm surprised.
It was not a compelling finish. It was not exciting. It didn't shock anyone. The shocking part is that Samoa Joe is the new AEW champion, and he just beat MJF and then walked away, and then the devil stuff played out. Joe's thing is separate. He's just Joe. He's the champ now. That, to me, is the biggest surprise of the night, is that Samoa Joe is now the AEW champion, and who knows where he goes from here. You're telling me Samoa Joe became AEW world champion, and they haven't given it to Bryan Danielson? I mean, this is not right.
Pretty much guy now.
Yeah.
That's all he is.
Oh.
Well, whatever. You bet you're either first or you're last. Either way. Those are the good spots.
Well, let's face it. He just doesn't win a title, man. It's not his thing. His thing is about having great matches. That's it.
Yeah.
But it's not about being champion.
Yeah. Well, now Samoa Joe dropping that Ring of Honor TV belt or whatever makes a lot of sense, because he won the big one in the end. World champion of AEW.
I would think him and Moxley would make a lot of sense. We'd see that eventually, I think.
Yeah. Is Eddie Kingston the number one contender after winning the Continental Classic tonight and beating Jon Moxley?
I think Kingston, they made him the Triple Crown champion. I think we mentioned this last night too. It's because he was already the New Japan Strong champion.
Mm-hmm.
So they already had him committed to that. So it's like, and Ring of Honor. So he's the guy that they can put in anywhere. Oh, we have to send him to Japan? Boom, easy. Ring of Honor, he'll do it.
Yeah.
AEW, every now and then, great. He's that guy who can bounce around instead of bouncing around a guy like Moxley, where it's like you'd rather keep him in AEW as much as possible.
Yeah. Okay, match of the night here. Score on 10 on this pay-per-view. I know Derek John gave this Edge and Christian match of the night, as we all did. It was unanimous here. Edge, Christian, match of the night. Incredible stuff. Those guys are legends, and they did their thing once again. Another legendary match from those two. What about a score?
Might be their best match ever.
Their best match ever against each other?
Yeah, it might be. I mean, except for that ladder
so.
match. I'd have to go back and watch the ladder match again. They did No Mercy 2001, but that may have been their best match.
Mm-hmm. It was very good. Very good. How about a score on 10 for this pay-per-view, though? Like, I didn't love this pay-per-view. I thought we had a couple matches that were very good, but overall, the show was lackluster until we got to Edge and Christian. So I'm giving this a 7 on 10.
Oh, wow. That's pretty generous.
It's still pretty high, actually, but okay.
Well, those two matches were so damn good. I really loved MJF and Joe and, Edge and Christian. I thought those matches were so excellent. And the rest of the stuff, it's not like it was really bad. It just, some of it was too long. You know, like, I thought Tony Storm and Riho was decent. I thought Miro and Andrade was okay. It was just like...
long.
Yeah, it was just like, yeah, all right.
It's too long.
I just didn't, there wasn't a great build for it. The matches were okay, but they weren't anything that you wouldn't see on an average episode of Dynamite. It didn't feel pay-per-view level. A lot of this stuff just felt average. It felt like kind of regular TV. Not to say it was bad, but like also, I don't want to see Swerve versus Dustin Rhodes on Collision. I definitely don't want to see it on pay-per-view. I understand Keith Lee had some sort of medical issue or something, some reason why he couldn't do the match tonight. I am disappointed we didn't see Keith Lee, but when Keith Lee's not on the show, you scrap the match. You don't have Swerve on the pay-per-view. Too bad. He cuts a promo, something, but you don't have Dustin Rhodes go out there and wrestle Keith Lee, Swerve, because it didn't matter. And the fact that Dustin got so much on Swerve was like, really?
Yeah.
Come on, Swerve. Like, you should be just crushing this guy in 3 minutes. That match shouldn't have gone 9.5 minutes. It should have been 3 minutes with Swerve over strong. It was pointless. Miro and Andrade went like 15 minutes. And then Lana turning on Andrade in the end. Like, who cares? And Miro doesn't even really acknowledge her at the end of that match. He's like, kind of like mean-facing her, but kind of accepting her, but she never gets in the ring. So there's still no real conclusion of that whole stupid thing that no one cares about, by the way. No one cares about Lana managing other people and Miro being upset about it. It's like one of the worst stories that AEW has going, and they're just doing it to appease these people. It's like, why am I seeing a Smackdown storyline on this AEW pay-per-view?
Jesus.
Don't worry about it.
Really?
Why are we
entering the house?
Why are we seeing this stuff? It's just pointless. That match was pointless. Like, it wasn't like Julia Hart and Abaddon had a terrible match. It just wasn't very good, and it was a little too long.
Right.
And the 8-man tag with Jericho and Sting and everything, that was bad.
Yeah.
That was a bad match,
Right.
But MJF, MJF, Samoa Joe, so good. Christian and Edge, so good. And the rest was, just fine. I thought the opening 8-man tag was okay. I just didn't think it was great,
And long.
Yeah, it was a little too long. And I didn't love Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley, but I didn't hate it. I mean, it was fine. It was exactly what I expected the match to be. I mean, it was what it was. It was a Jon Moxley Eddie Kingston match. I've seen it before.
Welcome.
It didn't seem new, didn't seem fresh. It was, what they do. Except Eddie Kingston won this time. Right? Did it seem different to you?
Well, just the opening, how they try to make it seem like it was a real fight. We were talking about this off air too, and I was asking your opinions about it, and you didn't really felt like it was a real fight whatsoever, and it felt like it looked like crap. So
Yeah, I didn't notice that. Like when you said, "Oh, they were trying to do like a real fight," like it didn't seem like a real fight to me. It just seems like kind of strong style wrestling, like brawling, the Eddie Kingston stuff that he always does. Didn't look like the UFC to me. The grappling stuff they were doing didn't look like real Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I was watching the Fury jiu-jitsu stuff, some clips while I was watching this. Aljamain Sterling had a jiu-jitsu match. He was really upset because the guy was like butt scooting him the whole time, and then he won on points. Aljamain was mad that he lost. Aljamain's real salty when he loses. But that jiu-jitsu or, it doesn't look like the pro wrestling stuff they were doing. So, yeah, it didn't seem... What I'm saying is I don't know if they hit the mark. But I think they did for what they were trying to do, It's what they do. It's just not my... It's not my cup of tea. It's not really what I like to see.
Well, I think just because they're over, it's like they could almost do almost anything in that ring, and people will react to them just because they're known. People love Moxley's entrance. People like Eddie Kingston just because he tries hard. So it doesn't matter if some of the stuff looks bad. Like, people love them regardless. And that's why when you see in other matches, some people try that as well, but they're not over. And there's crickets, pretty much.
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite match on the show. That's for sure. Jimmy James giving it a 6.75. Very, very specific.
Wow.
I'm giving it a 7 on 10. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, it was a lot of like stuff that would just be on like an average episode of Dynamite. Maybe like a 5.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
That's a pretty low score. Didn't like it.
Just mid.
It was pretty middle of the road, but I thought those two matches were so strong it gave it, I would agree with you on a 5, but I just gave each one of those matches gives the pay-per-view an extra point. Those matches were so good. So good.
Yeah, they saved the show for sure.
Johnny?
Well, I guess I'll go in the middle of both of you. I guess I'll go with the 6 on 10.
Good.
All right.
There you go.
It's a wide spectrum.
Why not? 6 on 10. Derek John giving it a 6 on 10 as well. Longtime member Derek John. Thank you, Derek. Jimmy James now a member. Thank you, Jimmy. Gifted a membership by Harold Schneider. Thank you, Harold. Always very generous, giving memberships out to the Ringside Report Network. Thank you, Harold, gifting some YouTube memberships over at join.ringsidereport.net to the YouTube channel. So welcome Jimmy James, new member of the channel, Big Sean H.
Oh, Big Sean.
Bren, Heather, Chocolate Drop.
Oh.
Welcome to the new members. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. Don't forget to subscribe as well as... being a member of the show. Subscribe to the Ringside Report Network channel. We appreciate it. And Harold Schneider says, welcome new members. Let's show these guys some support for all the great content. The website is impressive too. Well, thank you, Harold. And yes, please check out our website over at ringsidereport.net. There's a lot of great content there, a lot of written stuff about MMA and pro wrestling, as well as all our shows in podcast form and video form, everything over at ringsidereport.net, and you can get merch over at merch.ringsidereport.net, including this sweet Johnny North Genesis t-shirt that I have in orange, that Johnny has, I think, you have it in black, or what do you have it in?
Black, yeah.
Johnny has it in black. AJ has it in navy blue. We have it in a variety of colors. I like orange. I'm like Taz,
But I digress.
I'm a big Halloween fan. So I'm going with merch.ringsidereport.net to get all my cool Johnny North shirts like this one with the big man, Genesis in fire. Harold Schneider giving this show a 5 out of 10. Jason Pete says didn't watch it, so 10 out of 10. Well, that's good, Jason. That's nice. Shout out to Jason Pete out in Mexico. And Jimmy James says, hard line, Ben Simon. Yeah, 5 and 10. You're going with the low score there. Johnny, a little more generous, 6 and 10. I'm very generous because I'm the nicest. 7 out of 10 because I love everybody. All right, so we're getting some scores here over on YouTube. Shout out to Heavy Steps Game On, watching us over on Rumble as well. I see you. Thank you to all our Rumblers. Okay, let's talk about Chris Jericho a little bit and everything going on there, because we have to. Jericho got booed a lot tonight. The match wasn't particularly good. Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, Chris Jericho, and Stang beat Ricky Starks, Big Bill, Konosuke Takeshita, and Powerhouse Hobbs. Sammy got the pin on Starks after a shooting star splash. Jericho got booed. Big Bill and Jericho during the match, completely fell apart. I don't know what the hell happened there.
Yeah.
At one point, they got in the ring together, and they just kind of tumbled. It was ugly. I think the crowd was starting to get to Jericho. It was ugly. The whole scene was ugly. And Jericho is being accused of some things on the internet. It kind of broke on Twitter today. Stuff about Chris Jericho. And it's hard to figure out what is going on with Chris Jericho, right? It's hard to figure out what these accusations are because they're very vague, and some of them are from... there's not much out there, right? Let me show you what I have here. I think I can show this to you. John, are you familiar with all this?
Well, this is an old story that was like 2-3 years ago. Maybe even older than that. I think we talked about it like a couple of years ago when it happened. But the girl that was involved said that no one else was involved with her decision of leaving. It was her decision to leave. And that ended that. But I guess one of the reporters, like the CM Punk guy, brought it back. Because I guess he has beef with Jericho. So
yeah,
now it's back again.
So here's a tweet that's out there. So it's from Reddit from 4 years ago from somebody who was accusing David Starr, who tweeted this Slay Mysterio in 2020. Sometimes I stop to wonder how many young women out there are wondering if it's safe to post about Chris Jericho yet. And then Kylie Ray, this is kind of what started everything. Kylie Ray, who was in AEW and then left AEW, posted this heart emoji to this tweet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So people are then looking into it and trying to read into it, and I don't know where I saw this, but there was a story where somebody said that Kylie Ray was invited to Jericho's hotel room and she expected many people to be there for like a party, but it was only her and Jericho, and he was possibly behaving inappropriately. But I don't even think Kylie Ray has ever said this. This is just something that's been repeated and now being repeated on Twitter as an indictment on Chris Jericho and his, entire personality and character, which I think is... you heard the reaction, so people are obviously believing all this stuff, but it's pretty vague. Kylie Ray hasn't said anything about Jericho in any kind of way. No one has really said anything directly about Chris Jericho doing anything. There's just kind of like, well, Jericho, maybe there's women out there that should be posting about him, and then Kylie Ray likes that, and people go, they're kind of putting two and two together. And I'm not saying that it's not a possible thing. It's definitely possible, and if it is, then it should be dealt with for sure. And then there's the other guy, Nick Houseman, who is a reporter who apparently is close with CM Punk. And who knows what's going on there. But he said something where he compared Jericho to Harvey Weinstein.
Which is a pretty, severe comparison.
But it was also vague about what exactly he was saying. He didn't say anything directly either. I could say, Johnny North, he likes movies. You know who else likes movies? Harvey Weinstein.
Woody Allen.
Right? But, like, what does that mean? People go, oh, what is Dave saying about Johnny North?
Yeah.
Is he comparing him to Harvey Weinstein? You know what I'm saying, John? Like, it's...
Yeah, I know. I think it's ridiculous.
It's a little shaky, and I have a hard time just saying, oh, Jericho, he's bad. Look what he did. Yeah. And then people jump to conclusions in their mind, and they make up stories in their mind of, oh, I bet Jericho was, he gets drunk, and I bet you he did this, and he did. Like, people are probably coming up with things, and maybe they already have some preconceived notions about Chris Jericho because of maybe some of his political affiliations. Like, people have been willing to jump on Jericho and wanting to jump on Jericho for a while. He had Donald Trump Jr. on his podcast. People were very mad about that. He's said some pretty weird stuff on his podcast that people, people are waiting to cancel Jericho, and maybe this is the way to do it. And maybe there's good reason to do it. But until those reasons are clear, I have a hard time with the whole audience, like, just getting after him and yelling at him and booing him and chanting NDA at him. And the NDA thing is something else, right?
Yeah, that's about the brawl out. Like, about I think Jericho said he was in the room with Kenny and the Bucks and Punk and everything.
Yes.
And Ace Steel, but he wasn't. He was with, like, Tony Khan at the time, I think, doing his press conference.
Johnny, tell us about the NDA stuff.
Well, no, again, because you talk about people, like, spinning this and making their own narratives, saying, like, oh, they probably had Tony Khan have the girl Kylie Ray, like, sign NDA, so that's why none of this came out. That's why she hasn't said anything. Again, like, ridiculous. Like, just try to spin anything so it fits the way you think the way things happen. Absolutely terrible that wrestling fans think this way.
Yeah.
Disgusting, really. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, there's just
wrestling fans should be ashamed of themselves.
There's so little evidence, And of course you see Jericho. I mean, he's an old drunken rock star wrestler. You assume that he's doing greasy things. He appears like a greasy man, but, like, so? A lot of dudes appear greasy. They're not necessarily greasy. You know what I'm saying? Just because a guy gets drunk and is an old rock star man doesn't mean he's doing inappropriate things.
And sometimes guys with a squeaky clean image are really greasy backstage.
Exactly. So it's like, it's difficult because I don't want to sit here and defend a guy if some of these things are true, if there's something there, right? Mm-hmm. Like, if there's something there, I don't want to go, oh, Jericho, how dare they say anything about Jericho? I think if there's something there, you should find out about it and, whatever. But if there's nothing there, and so far it doesn't appear as if there's anything substantial that we can really point to and go, yes, he did this. This woman is saying that he did this. Here's this story. If there was one woman with a story, a lot of times people go, wow, one woman with a story, not enough. You need several stories. I'm not, if there was one woman with a story and the story made sense, you go, I don't know, man. There's that story. I wonder what's going on with Jericho, right? But I haven't heard a story. I've just heard I've seen some vague tweets. And now, based on the reaction from AEW fans, it seems like those vague tweets are enough to say, well, Jericho is a sexual predator and he should be canceled and kicked out of wrestling. Like, that was the attitude of the fans tonight. And I don't know, man. Like, because if it's not true, because there doesn't seem to be that much. And if it's not true, that's pretty horrible to Chris Jericho, who is a legend of wrestling, who's given his life to wrestling. And, I like Chris Jericho. I'm a fan of Chris Jericho's. He is very important historical figure in wrestling and has entertained me for years. So I have a hard time turning my back on Chris Jericho based on some vague tweets. If he did do some inappropriate shit with Kylie Ray, then I will turn my back upon him. But if he didn't, and so far no one said anything. So if all of a sudden he disappears from AEW TV, I guess you'll know why. They seem to have disappeared Ric Flair from AEW TV based off internet protest. When's the last time you saw the Nature Boy? He wasn't there tonight. You would think pay-per-view he might be there. No Nature Boy. I thought he was going to be there. I thought he signed a deal with AEW. We have not seen him since he cut that promo that they had to edit off Collision, and he hasn't been on TV since. He has not been on AEW TV since because people pressured AEW into canceling the Nature Boy. And then Tony Khan was like, "Oh, he's actually paying us to be here," which is ridiculous. He's like, "We signed the Nature Boy," and then people are like, "Oh, well, how could you do that?" And he's like, "Well, the Woo Energy, it's paying for his salary." Well, that's not really paying us to be here, Tony. Ugh.
But Flair is advertised for the next Collision, actually.
Oh, finally.
I believe it's in North Carolina, if not mistaken.
Okay, so in North Carolina, where he's allowed, but,
Where he's allowed. He can enter that state or something?
I think there are certain places he's not allowed.
All right. I think there's just certain places he wants to be at, that's it. I think that's the way it works.
Maybe. He doesn't want to go to New York? He doesn't want to go to Long Island with the Stinger?
Doesn't want to go to Montreal? No. Yeah, it's cold.
Montreal, I guess.
Said, yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know about Chris Jericho. It's hard. It's hard to know what's happening now, right? It's unclear. Whatever it is, I was surprised that the AEW fans were like, "Yeah, we've made our decision."
You can see it on his face too.
Yeah, you could see him going.
His face was twitching.
Yeah, you saw the reaction he had. It was like, man, when he was getting booed, I felt bad for him. Maybe I shouldn't.
Well,
but I did. I got to preface with maybe I shouldn't because maybe we shouldn't.
It's hard to tell. You don't want to blanketly say.
Maybe he's a monster, but
I've never heard anything.
No, I've never heard anything.
And usually wrestlers, they garner a reputation before you find out that, not always. But sometimes it's like, oh yeah, I heard about, and then when it comes out, 3 people accused, then the people are like, oh yeah, I remember hearing stories about Joey Ryan or something like that, But I Jericho's been wrestling for decades, and been a lot of storylines with women, a lot of, but
yeah,
I don't know. That doesn't mean, but
I don't know.
I never heard a story about Chris Jericho.
Yeah, but there are a lot of wrestlers. All of a sudden, it comes out, and it's like, oh, I didn't know that was. It happens, but. Yeah, I think it's tough to, indict the guy and say, yes, he is a bad guy at this point in time. And the fact that so many people have done that is a little surprising to me. I was a little surprised.
And if it's just because, they don't like his politics or something, pro wrestlers, yeah. A lot of them share his politics. They might not be as vocal about it, but their donations are often going to the same place.
Yeah.
People love Cody Rhodes. I don't think Cody Rhodes' politics are that different than Chris Jericho's.
Possibly not. From
what I understand.
But Johnny, Jericho, I don't know how they operate going forward. I don't know what happens. Because if these are going to be the reactions for Jericho going forward, it's tough. It's going to be tough to deal with. If the AEW fans come out and start booing Jericho and start, saying things about him, if this continues, it'll be tough, but it might blow over, or there might be more to it. It's tough at this point to say one way or another. I'm having a hard time taking a stand one way or the other. I just think that with the information we have at this point, it's hard to say, yes, clearly he's bad. Because there's very little information, and it's all very vague. A heart emoji is not, he did this to me. He did,
She might just think he's a jerk.
Yeah. It's tough.
Well, they have the media scrum coming up soon, so I imagine Tony's going to address it. And I think that'll be the end of that. Yeah.
All right. I don't know.
I don't think he will.
I don't know how.
Someone's going to ask the question, because clearly there's a lot of people that want to ask the question.
Yeah.
Can they prevent people from like asking the question in a certain way?
There's too many. That's the problem.
You know, like
It's gonna
AEW
come
doesn't
out.
like control the press conference. I'm surprised.
It's not WWE. Yeah, they're more free about it.
Yeah.
WWE, it would never happen.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. They never let what happened with Punk or anything, but
Exactly.
yeah. But like, yeah.
But to be fair, they wouldn't do press scrums like at 1 o'clock in the morning. WWE, they're just like go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But people wanting suspensions, wanting investigations, wanting all sorts of stuff. And, Kylie
I
Ray...
AEW should fold. Like, it's really ridiculous stuff. Like, I saw...
Kylie Ray was a wrestler who was in AEW and then left kind of abruptly, but she's also left other promotions pretty abruptly.
I thought she came back to AEW for like a brief moment.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think it's something we should get into, but she's had issues.
Yeah.
So
I don't know much about her.
Yeah.
All I know is that, like, she hasn't said anything specifically about Jericho. And the sign in the audience, Jericho go away, World's NDA. I mean, he was, and the boos and the chanting of NDA at Jericho. I mean, they're really going after Jericho, and fans want answers, but want answers to what?
I know there was a question.
You
Yet they'll all do the sing along as well, though. I mean,
Yeah, they did the sing along, didn't they?
Yeah, of course.
Of course, they'll do the sing along and then boo them. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what bigger jerks you could ever find in the world, but AEW fans might be them.
Yeah, because Jericho came out, and you could see him kind of looking around like, what's this reaction going to be? And they were singing, and he was like, all right, we're good. And then the match started, and then Jericho gets tagged in, and they start booing him, and he goes, what? Like, he was surprised, almost.
There was a definite reaction.
I'd be disappointed. I am disappointed with the fans. I think it's terrible.
Yeah. I don't know. I just want more evidence. I want some evidence. I want something.
Like, if someone is going to come out with something, if they feel encouraged now that people are talking, let them come out, like.
If all these people are willing to boo him, I mean, I don't even want evidence of any wrongdoing of Jericho. I mean, if there's nothing there, there's nothing there. But all these people that are willing to boo him, that are willing to hate him and say he's this and that, show me some proof. Show me something, and I'll believe you, and I'll boo him too.
Yeah.
But until I see something, it's kind of hard to say, oh, Jericho has done this or done that. It's unclear. Like, Vince, he did some bad shit. There's a video of Jericho kind of defending Vince when asked about it on a podcast. And people were saying, see? But that doesn't really, I mean, he likes Vince. Vince is his friend. And he's saying, well, Vince didn't do anything illegal. Vince did some things that were immoral, but he didn't do anything illegal. He paid some people off, and he did that. And it's
people who haven't committed sex crimes might also have that opinion.
Yes. Well, that's it. Just because you defend Vince McMahon, he may have a variety of reasons why he defends Vince McMahon. It doesn't necessarily mean he's a sexual predator as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And the comparing to Harvey Weinstein is like, it's a huge, like, Harvey Weinstein's
that guy,
in jail.
Nick Hausman comparing him to Harvey Weinstein, I mean, what is he saying exactly?
Like, Harvey Weinstein had people followed by, like, Mossad agents and stuff, and, like, blackmailed and shit. Like, like...
But he was, I mean, basically he was offering people jobs for sex. But, I mean, is that what Chris Jericho's being accused of doing? And if he is, can he give people jobs in AEW? Like, is he even management? I don't understand. I'm not sure. I mean, he definitely has power. He's definitely in a position of authority in AEW because he's a star and he's Chris Jericho and all of that. But yeah, for that guy Nick Hausman to be like, well, Chris Jericho, Harvey Weinstein, you go.
It's a shorthand.
Okay, but what's behind any of this? And he's like, well, the people that know things, they don't want to say it, so I'm not going to say it. That's kind of easy to hide behind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean,
yeah,
I get that. If you know people that have stories, you should not tell them. I mean, those are not your stories to tell, you know, but it's also maybe not something that you should vaguely allude to. That's not responsible either. To be like, well, I know things about Jericho, and, you know, Harvey Weinstein is kind of like him, and, but I can't say how, or can't say what, I can't say anything. Well, you go, okay, well, what the fuck are you saying then?
Yeah.
You're not saying shit.
You're just letting us use our imaginations.
You're just, you know, drumming up controversy and making shit difficult for Chris Jericho. And also, when you're buddies with CM Punk, who just left AEW and had beef with Jericho, you got to question where all this is coming from.
Yeah.
Anything coming out of Chicago right now, you got to go, well, who's saying this? What's the motivation? What's really going on? I don't know. I don't trust it. And I really don't like a guy going, I know something, but I can't tell you. Yeah. And then there's never a reveal. That's not a good show.
Because like
that's not how you do journalism.
If he's afraid of libel lawsuit, if it's true, it's not libel.
Correct. But it's also protecting the victims. You don't want to reveal stories about the victims that have confided in you, and that's fine. But and that's the responsible thing to do. But then to vaguely allude to those stories of said victims is not responsible. Like, that's not better. You're just putting pressure on certain people to actually reveal the story, and you're making Chris Jericho look really bad in the interim. So if the people never come out and reveal the story, all you have is making Chris Jericho look bad and having a whole arena boo him. And also, by the way, MJF, like he wrote in that Players Tribune thing, every time MJF has a big moment, there's something horrible about the company as a dark cloud over him. He has a big match and CM Punk fights somebody. He has a big match and CM Punk fights somebody, or CM Punk eats a muffin, or whatever. You know, MJF was saying, you know, whenever I had a big thing, there's always this other dark cloud over AEW, and I never really get to soak in the moment because there's some other stuff going on. And then here we go.
Yeah.
And maybe it's CM Punk from the shadows saying, hey, Nick Hausman, say this about Jericho. Ruin MJF's night again. He wants to complain about me. You know, who knows, man? There might be a reason why people hate CM Punk so much. You might be a devilish operator.
Puppet master.
Yeah. You never know. I'm just saying, take things with a grain of salt. It's pro wrestling. Everybody's working. Everybody has an angle. Everybody has a side. Everybody's got a story to tell. And until a story is told, I find it really hard to just jump on Jericho. Jimmy James says, you know who's at fault? Donald Trump. I agree. It's his fault. I'm not sure why, but it does seem easy to blame him. I think maybe Jericho's love for him has caused a big part of wrestling fans to revolt against Chris Jericho, so maybe it is Donald Trump's fault, Jimmy. Maybe you're right.
In a sense. But once again, like, if, you know, you're only going to be a fan of the people who share the same politics as you.
Yeah, you
might just have Bryan Danielson, you know, like
even then,
who knows, you know?
I mean, he's married to Brie Bella and lives in Arizona. I don't know.
But like, you know what I'm saying? You know, like same thing with like baseball players or something. Like if I'm gonna
of course, man,
cheer for a baseball player only who
it's
has
not
similar views than me.
How about this?
I don't know if I'll have a team to cheer for.
How about none of that stuff should really matter? How about, do you like him as a wrestler?
Mm-hmm. And like, you know, they publicly say, you know, I think all people of certain stripes should be executed. Then I'll be like, okay, I got a problem with you.
Yeah, I don't like when
if
athletes.
It's just purely on who you vote for.
I don't like anybody really. Athletes, regular people you vaguely know and become friends with on Facebook. I don't like when any of those people give their political ideas. You know, I'm just like, all right, person that I kind of know. Now I think you're really dumb. You know, just stop exposing yourselves. You know, that's really what it is. It's like people.
Chris Jericho, stop exposing yourself.
Yeah, Chris Jericho, stop. Yeah, I mean, really, in more ways than one, right? You know. But ever since people found pictures of his wife at that January 6th, the insurrection rally, whatever you want to call it, thing, people got real mad at Chris Jericho, and people started hunting down Jericho. And I'm not saying that this is some left-wing witch hunt. I'm really the last person to be spouting those types of conspiracy theories. I'm just saying it's goddamn possible. The internet is crazy, you know?
Or just let's, make sure we're actually going after like the bad. Let's just not because then it just, if we weaponize every time, and if the Jericho thing isn't what it turns out to be, it's easy for people to, when something does credible happen, go, well, you said that about Jericho and that wasn't true, so this isn't true either. It just makes people
Just stop me if I ever become Joe Rogan, because Joe Rogan used to be like, hey, man, peace and love, legalize weed, maybe Bigfoot's real. What about aliens? And now he's like, what about aliens and illegal aliens and secure the borders? And it's like,
don't tax me.
Yeah.
I'm just so taxed.
He's like, I need guns. And I'm like, whoa, Joe Rogan, what happened? Where did you go? Like he went to this other place. And I feel myself getting to that place, too, where I'm like, well, I don't really, but you know what I mean? Like, just stop me if I ever get that far, Because right now I'm like, it's a left-wing conspiracy against Chris Jericho, and it's because of January 6th, and I've got the documents to prove it. I'm starting to question myself and my direction of the show, so I got to be careful here. I have the documents. Chris Jericho's eating frogs, and they're turning him homosexual. What? Alex Jones, talked about gay frogs, I think.
Yeah, that's true, he did, yeah.
Yeah. Or was that South Park? Was that real? Or was that South Park?
Jones did say on the show. I think
was it both?
It was Alex Jones. I remember Alex Jones saying it. I don't remember South Park.
Right.
But if you ever think Canada's like a communist country, that's when you know things are going wrong with you, Dave. So as long as you're not thinking that, you're okay.
No, I mean, I live in Canada, so I know what it's actually like here.
Yeah.
Did Jericho say that?
Joe Rogan said Canada was a communist country.
Yes.
He said Canada is communist now. They're a communist country. And I'm like, well, I don't think Joe Rogan, he either doesn't know what life is like in Canada or is unaware of what communism is. But
especially its relationship to the States, like
we'd
have an embargo.
It's not communism. Anyways, we live in Canada. We watch AEW World's End. It was in America.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. So Johnny North giving this show a 6 on 10. I'm giving it a 7. This man over here giving it a 5 on 10. We are unanimous with Edge over Christian as the main event, or as the match of the night. Of course, post-match, Luchasaurus or Killswitch attacks Edge and comes out with the contract that he has won in the Battle Royal. And Christian then convinces him to give him the contract as Edge is laying there. Christian then cashes it in, because apparently he can cash it in whenever he wants, like Money in the Bank, kind of,
wink, wink.
Giving Edge a taste of his own medicine. And Edge had beaten Christian with the kill switch. So Christian then spears Edge and pins him 1, 2, 3 to take the TNT title back, which I thought was kind of funny, really, more than anything. Funny. Kind of a funny little thing to the Money in the Bank. They had tables, they had ladders, they had chairs. It was like an homage to TLC, to Money in the Bank, to everything that makes Edge and Christian great.
I think even Christian...
Flaming tables, it was crazy. It was like everything. It was like all the hits of Edge and Christian, everything that you know and love about Edge and Christian, all in one match. That's what made it so fantastic. It was just all the coolest things that they do all together.
Another detail I noticed, Christian, like when he was setting Edge up with the spear, he was doing this like jumping back and forth because he was just like so hyped. That's the jump. Like Edge did that same kind of jump when he speared John Cena at New Year's Revolution to win the championship. He was like just like so hyped, so he's like jumping back and forth. Like Christian did that little detail. I like that little nod there. I've seen that clip many times, so I know Edge did that jump.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite wrestling moments.
It was great. It was a great match. Edge got busted open, nasty bump on his eyebrow. Like, that was something happened there. I don't know what exactly hit him. Did you see what hit him there? It not only busted him open, but he was like, he had like a bump there where he was cut. A big thing sticking out of him. Anyways.
Did he hit the chair, if I'm not mistaken?
I'm not sure.
Maybe it was when he did that dive.
Christian hit a sunset flip powerbomb off the top of a ladder, which was pretty crazy. Like, these guys are 50 years old, still doing this. I mean, and looking great and having the match of the night. You know? Outshining everybody. Two 50-year-old legends of the game, doing it since the 90s, still doing it, kicking ass. They set a table on fire. The fire did go out, though, which was the only kind of misfortune of the match. The table goes out. The fire goes out before Edge can put Nick Wayne through it, so Edge puts a bunch more lighter fluid on it, and then when he lights the table on fire, it's going. Like, it was a huge fire the second time. Out of control. It was nuts, and then Edge kind of grabs Nick Wayne off the apron and goes to powerbomb him, and I think he thought, if I powerbomb him right directly into this, it's going to be bad. So he kind of powerbombed him and threw him, and Nick Wayne kind of hit the table and went flying over it. So the table didn't break. It would have been cooler if it broke, and maybe if it broke, the fire would have gone out in the explosion of the table, but maybe not. The fire was bad. Like, it was a lot of fire, and I think Edge just did the safe thing, was just to throw Nick Wayne over the fire and kind of graze the table instead of throwing him directly into the fire, where I think he would have suffered some serious burns. Yeah. But it just didn't look as cool, not going through the flaming table, just kind of going over it, you know what I mean? But the fire was so massive that it may have been too dangerous. It was cool. Yeah, but going through the table would have been better. Like, the whole table fire spot was not as good as it was when Edge and Foley went through it, because it will never be as good as that, because that was the greatest flaming table fire spot ever in the history of professional wrestling. Like, you'll never beat that. You can try and replicate it, but you will never beat that match. You'll never beat that flaming table. It was the best. It was perfect.
It was a spear through the ropes, too. It was such a cool spot.
Spear through the ropes. They go through the flaming table, and the fire kind of goes out as the table explodes around them as they're both crashing through. It was amazing.
Edge was, like, shaking after the match.
Yeah, that Edge and Foley match, if you haven't seen it.
Mania 22.
It's worth seeing. But, yeah, it's never going to be as good as that. It was cool. Tonight it was cool. But I would have preferred seeing Nick Wayne go through the table. He's like 18 years old. He'll survive. You know? Kid's resilient. No?
I don't know.
Looked like he hurt himself when he gave he did like a cutter off the something, and he fell down hard on the floor. Looked like he hurt himself doing that, Nick Wayne. You see that? He came up like...
Well, yeah, he's small. Like, he's not exactly very impressive. Like, I'm sure him just taking bumps, it kills him, actually.
Hurts his spine.
Yeah. So Christian, still the TNT champion. Tony Storm, still the AEW women's champion. Julia Hart, still the AEW TBS champion. And, of course, Eddie Kingston retains the Ring of Honor World title, the New Japan Strong title, and wins the Continental Classic Championship. And Samoa Joe, the new AEW World Champion, defeating MJF in the main event. The fantastic reign of 2023, MJF as the World Champion, is over. The longest reigning champion in the history of AEW. I would say the greatest title run of any champion in AEW's 5-year history. I don't think anybody had a better run. I think Kenny had a good run.
I liked Kenny's run when he's on top as a heel.
Yep, with Don Callis.
I like that run.
I liked it.
With Hangman.
But this run and these matches, it's been long.
Yeah.
And it's been really good. I think he's been the best champion AEW's ever had.
Yeah, again, because of the longevity, I think, and just the amount of great matches. I liked Jericho's run. Like, it wasn't the longest, but I thought it was needed. Mm-hmm. It really helped establish AEW. Yeah, it helped establish AEW. So that was really good. But it wasn't as long, and obviously MJF did a lot more. Moxley had a good run, too. So there was good ones, but yeah, MJF, I think, had the best.
And finally, John, I know I saw a question before. Angela's saying, was it explained why fans were chanting NDA at Jericho? I think we did cover that, right?
Yeah, I think we covered that because
Yeah.
everyone thinks that
Maybe
that's part
Angelo
of the
missed
story
that.
now.
Well, there's something also about like when from Christmas Day about Jericho, like 4 o'clock saying I never signed an NDA.
Yeah, there was a thing about the
think-
all-in fight with CM Punk, right? Where
This probably
Jericho.
helped put this out. Was that all this negativity on Jericho was because of that? I think that's what helped inspire all this. I think.
But what happened exactly? Like that story was kind of lost on me.
Because like at 4 a.m, something on Christmas, I guess he tweeted to Punk's lawyer, right?
Yeah.
About how like he never signed an NDA and he saw everything there, and what happened there was disgusting. What they did, like with Punk
Right.
and Steel, and
Jericho said that he saw the whole thing, the whole fight at All In with Punk and Steel, right? And it was disgusting.
Yeah.
But he couldn't get into but then the lawyer was like, and Jericho said he could talk about it, and he didn't sign an NDA. But then the lawyer was like, well,
Right.
didn't you have like in the employee handbook or something, like you're not allowed to talk about these things? Like, didn't you get that? And Jericho's like, I don't know what you're talking about. But at the same time, Jericho hasn't come out and said anything. So if he knows and if he's seen it and everything, he knows all the details, why hasn't he said anything? So he's saying, I can say it, I can say whatever I want, but he's choosing not to.
I think some people are saying he's like full of it and he wasn't actually there. He's just trying to make a name, trying to do business.
I don't know. I don't know what the hell that was. Like, it was a
4
weird
in the morning.
It was a weird story, and it was a couple of tweets from Jericho, and I was like, yeah, whatever. Jericho's just being Jericho. I mean,
yeah.
it was Christmas. I had other things going on. I was busy.
right. So that's
I
what
think
that
that
was.
Nick Hausman guy in that fracas tweeted at Jericho's like, how many people did you make sign NDAs or something? So that must have also had some smoke. Was that Nick Hausman guy?
Oh, boy.
But I think he said that during that kind of whole thing.
Who's the former world champion the WWE is
Yeah.
going
day
to
one.
have on Raw? I mean, it could be anybody, right?
John Cena?
Well, Batista makes sense, right? If they're going to put Batista in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it in Washington?
It's in San Diego.
Well, California.
Rey Mysterio? He's a former champion.
Yeah.
He's from San Diego.
Right,
On
but not
SmackDown.
signed to WWE.
Is it not signed to WWE? Is that what he said?
I'm pretty sure that was it. Not on the roster
Okay. So you think Batista?
for the Hall of Fame to start out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Meh. I don't know. I don't really have an idea of who else it could be. You got any ideas?
I was thinking Cena?
Cena, yeah, he's just been there.
Yeah.
They were selling Cena t-shirts at the house show, eh? I thought that was funny. Still selling Cena
Well, they
merch.
sell Austin T-shirts, don't they? Like,
Yeah. Well, it just said Montreal 316. It wasn't really a Stone Cold shirt.
sure, but yeah, I mean, do they sell Montreal NWO shirts too? Like,
No. Would be cool, though.
they should.
Yeah.
Yeah, former world champion. I guess Batista makes sense for the Hall of Fame if they're putting him in the Hall of Fame this year.
Yeah.
How about The Rock?
I mean, that'd be fantastic, but I
Yeah.
feel that The Rock's coming back for Elimination Chamber. Is that not the rumor?
I don't know.
Really?
Really?
I didn't even know The Rock's
I
coming
didn't
back
hear
at
that.
all.
I didn't hear that rumor. Are they bringing him back at the
Because-
Chamber to set up the match with Roman at Mania? Is that actually happening? Are they actually going to do that?
Well, it's not just the fact that would be fantastic, but it's the people that are helping WWE put that event together. They wanted The Rock, so
Well,
Who doesn't?
They're
Yeah.
pushing for that.
Yeah. I mean, if you put together a wrestling show, you want The Rock.
Yeah.
Any wrestling show, anywhere, always, forever. If you have a wrestling show, you go, can we get The Rock?
yeah.
Sounds like a big star. How about The Rock? Maybe Stone Cold Steve Austin? Does he want to do a wrestling match? I mean, that's who you get. Is Hulk Hogan around?
Undertakerville?
Yeah. I mean, those are the people you call when you want to do big wrestling. So that makes sense.
It'll be funny if it was just Triple H makes an appearance on the show.
Yeah.
I'm a former champion.
Well, he's kind of signed to WWE, though. It's got to be
guess so.
somebody that's not currently there.
Brett would be cool.
Yeah, but I don't
no reason.
understand
There's no
why.
reason.
Like, why? You know? I guess Batista makes sense, John. I
Yeah.
guess maybe that'll be it. I won't be so excited about seeing Batista, though, just to announce him in the Hall of Fame. Who cares? Who wants to see that? Is there a guy that could wrestle that's a former champion? Former WWE champion that could wrestle. Alberto Del Rio.
Well, I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
Oh man, why?
Dolph Ziggler's back, baby.
Yeah. I think he's got some indie
Maybe.
bookings already.
But yeah, I feel like he has already bookings. Yeah.
Okay.
I
mean,
Jinder
And
Mahal still with the
technically,
company?
yeah.
Yeah. Still on the roster.
Yeah.
Recently too.
Imagine Jinder's like that was it. I mean, it's too bad Randy's already back because that would have made sense.
Yeah. No, there's not that many.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't think it's going to be that exciting.
Yeah,
It'll
there's
be somebody
no
like
bigger name than Batista.
It'll be like Batista, and it'll be fun for the crowd, to see Batista because he's a star. But
Yeah.
on TV, seeing Batista just to say, "Oh, thanks," and really, why would he be in person to be announced in the Hall of Fame? They don't usually show you live until the Hall of Fame. Like that's the whole appeal of going to the Hall of Fame, seeing the Hall of Fame.
Doesn't have a movie to promote either.
Yeah, it's just like that's not the usual way they do things of bringing someone out to do a promo about thank you for inducting me in the Hall of Fame. I'll see you at the Hall of Fame where I thank you again. You know what I'm saying? What's the
Yeah.
promo?
Well, no. You have like what's his name? Adam Pearce come out, introduce Batista, and tell Batista like we just want to let you know that you're going to be in the Hall of Fame, and then he gets to say about how thank you for that and what a great honor it is, and I'll see you there.
Should be Trips, not Adam Pearce.
Yeah, but that's really lame. That's
Yeah,
a really
they
lame
hug or
segment.
something.
I'm not saying
Comes
it's
out,
great.
Batista
Like,
comes
what?
out. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you at the Hall of Fame. That's lame. I hope that's
does
not.
some poses.
I hope it's something better. I want to see something better. I want to see Hulk Hogan come out and be like, "Hey, brother, oh, let me tell you something. I always thought CM Punk was a piece of trash, and I'm gonna take him out at the Royal Rumble. I'm gonna be in the Royal Rumble this year.
Terry would be awesome.
I'm in the Rumble, brother, and CM Punk, I'm coming for you. I'm shooting on you, brother. I know you like to do shoots. I'm gonna be all shoot on you, brother. Don't be too stiffsky with me.
That's the feud of 2024.
Everything
Hulk Hogan, CM Punk.
Everything hurts, brother. I saw you say trans lives matter, brother, where Hulk Hogan thinks otherwise. And he probably does. He probably does.
No,
That's
I
the
don't
thing.
think
That's
so.
what I'm saying.
Sorry, I took it too far. I got too into Hulk Hogan character. It's just, the thoughts of Hogan.
HH.
Much love, you would hope. Okay, can we stop now? I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm really done. We've gone too far. I start thinking
too
about
late,
Hulk
yeah.
Hogan running wild and saying inappropriate things on TV,
Yeah, well, I mean,
it would happen
can
too.
happen.
I'm just waiting for it to happen. I'm waiting for Hulk Hogan to show up on TV and blow up. Say some really dumb shit.
We gotta get ready for the next show, and then the feedback that we get for the post scrum that's gonna happen. So
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
yeah, so let's regroup for that.
We got to regroup.
For the potential Hogan blow up.
I don't know what we're doing.
No, for
John's talking.
the scrum blow up.
I don't think
that's gonna
anything's
happen.
happening. The scrum is happening, and I haven't seen any.
No blow ups yet.
Tony Storm called out Wendy Richter for some reason.
Wendy Richter.
Tony's great, man.
Yeah, Tony's fantastic. She's like one of the few people with a character.
Samoa Joe was talking. I don't know.
Maybe
Nothing.
Jericho won't even be there.
Nothing big has come out of the scrum. I would bet a lot of money that Jericho is not going to be at that scrum. They are not going to put Jericho in front of those people and have him answer questions. That's not happening.
No, but
No.
usually at the end, Tony answers the question by himself, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. But I could see him also just being like, I don't know, guys.
Yeah, I'm not going to answer any questions. We got to look into it. It's kind of
Yeah.
a new situation. We're not answering anything about that.
I'm not going to say anything public at this time.
And that's it. You just shut it down.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to do anything about that. Yeah. And the reports are out of different wrestling sites saying that MJF is expected to take some time off now, and his contract might be up at the beginning here of 2024, and who knows? But it's kind of up in the air. All the reports are that his contract may be up, but it's unclear. We'll see.
So, but it is clear we aren't going to see him for a bit now.
Yeah, yeah. He's got to deal with injuries, and then we'll see. Maybe he comes back to AEW. Maybe that was his last ever match in AEW.
Maybe he's at the post-Mania Raw.
Yeah.
You know, he shows up to challenge Seth Rollins or something.
Maybe he'll be on Raw as well the following week when Raw comes to the Bell Center in Montreal.
That would be pretty cool. He cuts a big promo.
Ooh, MJF CM Punk promo on Raw at the Bell Center. Yup. Sign me up.
Yes, please.
Give me that. Give me
Where are you
that.
guys sitting?
113.
It's pretty
Oh,
good.
not bad.
Yeah, it's like hard cam, you know,
Primo.
good seats.
And Epico.
113, baby. We'll be there. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Big thanks to Harold Schneider. Drop in the very generous gifts of 5 Ringside Report Network memberships over at join.ringsidereport.net. Thank you, Harold. Welcome to the new members, Jimmy James, Big Sean H., Bren, Heather, Chocolate Drop. And shout out to all our supporting members, Derek John. Good to see you, Derek, live on the show. I don't see Derek John very often in the chat. Good to see him. Happy New Year, Derek. Jason Pete out in Mexico. Shout out to you. Angelo Contagonis as well. Angelo dropping the super chat. Thank you for another great year. Cheers to 2024. Cheers to you, Angelo. CSL Lorne, my buddy out. I think he's in Vegas having a good time.
Ooh.
So thank you to everybody tuning in here tonight on the Ringside Report Network for a AEW World's End post show. This is our final show of 2023. So thank you to everybody that has supported the Ringside Report Network over this year. Without you guys, without the members, without people like Angelo, without people like Harold Schneider, without people like Derek John, the Ringside Report Network does not exist. So we are a fan-supported network, and we appreciate you guys very, very much supporting the Ringside Report Network and joining us throughout the year and throughout the years here on the channel. And we've got bigger and better stuff planned for you in 2024. 2024, we're going to war. All right? That's the slogan. All right? It's getting aggressive in 2024. Johnny, that's the slogan. Get with it. Get to it. 2024, we're going to war. We're taking on everybody. We're taking everybody out. We're victorious. We're crushing everything. It's happening. The Ringside Report Network is going to war in 2024. With who?
France.
Everybody. And France.
Well,
Not
Raw was
France.
always better.
No, we
when
love France.
Yeah.
Raw
Is there a
war,
Euro or a World
so.
Cup in 2024? We got to support France, I think, in 2024.
I think there's a Euro.
We got to be supporting France then.
That's
No
true.
war with
No,
France.
no.
The war with
Mbappe.
France has been called off. Allez les bleus.
Yeah. Why do wars even have to happen? Why can't
Shut up. All right, shut up. Shut up. The
The
show's
football
over.
match.
Shut up. You're fucking up my
Happy
slogan.
New Year, everybody. Have a good night.
Happy New Year. We love you.
Welcome.
We'll see you again.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word.
You know the drill. Hit that subscribe button, flip those notification switches.
We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net. Hope to see you again next